Hello and welcome to my world of crochet. My name is Stine and today I'm here with you for a yarn comparison video. We are in fact going to compare the Ice Yarns Cakes Angora with the Papatya Angora Cake. We have those two yarns right here and we're going to take a deep dive into the yarn specifications to see if these two yarns are in fact the same yarn. So a very thorough yarn comparison. So let's turn the camera around and go through the specs together. And here we have them. The two cake yarns. We have here on this side the Ice Yarns Cakes Angora. And here we have the Papatya Angora Cake. So let's go through them one by one, but just at the first instant feel, I would say these feel 100% the same. And color-wise, I would say they're very matching. They're just wound up differently. So depending on where the yarn mill were when they were time to wind up the cake, I think that they are not necessarily the same color changes. Well, they are the same, but they don't get caked up in the same manner. So here we have the light inside, and you have here the lighter towards the middle or outer edge of the cake. But here on the very outer edge of the cake, you also have the light. So in that sense, the cakes are wound up differently. But let's take a closer look at the yarn specs first. As said, this is the Ice Yarns Cakes Angora. And I'm going to change and turn around a little bit so it's easier to read. We have here 20% Angora, 20% wool, and 60% acrylic. It is a 200-gram cake, and that gives 1,100 meters of yarn, plus minus a 5%. So we are here having a 7-ounce cake to about, a good estimate in yards would be 1,300 yards or close. Well, no, 1,200 and some odd yards, a bit more than 1,200 yards. It's classified as a fine weight to yarn, and they recommend 3mm knitting needles. They do not list anything about crochet hooks. You can see here it is made by Ice Yarns, which is also known as a GSC Textile in Turkey. Made in Turkey. They say here, cannot iron, do not bleach, can be washed at 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. The label itself is a little bit squished, probably happened during transportation to my place. I paid a little more than €3 for this cake on ice, but there on top comes shipping and valued at taxes added on top when imported to the Netherlands. So the end price was probably around €5.80, 85-ish or so back when I bought this yarn. I still think that price is a good price for this cake. But yeah, let's compare it to the Papatya. And the Papatya Angora Cake here, as you can see, it is also 200 grams or 7 ounces to 1,100 meters or 1,200 yards. So that was actually correct what I said here. It says this is 80% acrylic and a 20% wool. So here the yarn contents does seem to differ from the Angora cakes, because Angora cakes did claim that it had 20% Angora wool in it, and then 20% wool, and then 60% acrylic, just to compare. I'm not sure 100% who I should trust in this case, because, as I said, these yarns really feel the same, but the only thing that makes me doubt is the yarn breakdowns right now. It is machine washable, and you can get free patterns on the website, which is camgarn.com. Wash at 30 degrees Celsius, which is about 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Lay flat to dry, do not iron, do not tumble dry, do not bleach. One of these gives a shawl. They do claim you can probably knit a sweater with one cake as well, which I would say depend on your size. Here they recommend 3 to 3.5mm knitting needles or 2mm crochet hook. It is a thin yarn because it is indeed like a 2-weight yarn. Not much possibilities here to really get them out, but this is kind of what you're looking at. It is a fussy yarn. This is the colorway 605, where I believe Ice just defined this as different shades of blue. So that's pretty much the short differences here. This is also produced in Turkey. Yeah, they really feel the same. I have to say, genuinely, the fact that this says it has no Angora wool, but it's 20% wool, 80% acrylic, where this says 20% Angora, 20% wool, 60% acrylic, makes me doubt. But when I'm feeling these yarns and when I'm really comparing them, the colors, you know, they are so close to be the same. Let's see if I can get them a bit closer for you guys. Look at these blues, they really match up one another. So the real question is, who should I believe the yarn breakdown from? Because I believe these two cakes are really the same cakes, produced at the same factory. They just have different yarn labels. The Papatya yarn, I do believe I paid like €4.80, so about €1 less than I did for the Ice Yarns, because I could buy the Papatya at a web shop where I also got free shipping. And thus I didn't have to pay additional shipping. Also, it was from a store in the EU, so I did not have to pay import costs. So breaking down the physical price of the product, the Papatya cake was cheaper than the ice cake. That said, the ice cake still price-wise, I think for the amount of yarn you get is still a good price. So don't get me wrong, but if you are purely looking at getting the cakes for a perspective of price, then maybe have a look if you have a local store selling the Papatya brand before optioning getting them for Ice. Though it could also be that Ice have different colorways than they do have at Papatya. And if you do not have to pay import costs valued at taxes, then it might be that the Ice is a cheaper option for you. So I'd recommend you to check out both should you be interested. Another reason for me thinking that this is definitely the same yarn is, of course, also because I do have 2 other cakes, one of Ice and one of Papatya, and they do happen also to be the same colorway. So I'm just going to put these a little bit out of the view. And then I'm going to show you this absolutely a gorgeous ombre, ochre, yellow, orange yarn from, again, Papatya Angora Cake. So we have the same yarn breakdowns as the other video. And Ice also have one of theirs, which again, as you can see, it's wound up differently, it caked up differently, but the colors are a pretty close to true match, though it does come over a little bit differently because, again, that the colors are wound up differently. But if you really take a closer look at these colors, you can see that they are a match to one another. So this is, again, I believe the yarns are made at the same mill. It's just different labels, different brands. That is my genuine impression of these yarns. Let me know if you have other ideas for these yarns or what you think. I am most happy to receive those comments in the description box here down below. Yeah, let me know if you know something I don't. I said both yarns are made in Turkey. I'm sure they are made at the same yarn mill. They just put different brand labels on them. The real question is if it's Ice Yarns that made these yarns, or if it's Papatya's mill that made these yarns, or maybe if it's, I don't know. It shouldn't be owned by the same company based on the label rubber, because Kamgan and GSA yarns are different, and there are many yarn companies in Turkey. But I feel that they are likely made at the same mill. The real question is then, which label are we to believe more? The label that says it's just 20% wool and 80% acrylic, or the label that says 20% Angora wool, 20% wool, and 60% acrylic. Let me know what you think, what you believe. I'm keen to hear it. Here on and out, I'm going to say I hope you enjoyed watching this yarn comparison video. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to watch more yarn comparison videos in the future. Thank you for watching. Take care and happy crafting. Until see you again. Bye.